Hey guys, it's Sam, and this is my spoiler-free review of the Belladonna series by Adalyn Grace. This is a young adult fantasy trilogy that follows our main character primarily because the final book is kind of a companion. I'll get into that in a second. But this book primarily follows a main character of Signa, and at the start of the book, she is 19, and she has had a tragic history with her family. So her basically entire family, at least immediate family, died when she was an infant at this very big party. There was a poisoning event, but somehow she didn't die. And so she has been kind of followed by death as a figure her entire life. She has gone to various different family homes and foster homes, and everyone ends up dying, and so she feels kind of cursed. And finally she gets invited to a distant relative. I think it's a distant cousin's house, and when she gets there, she's like, okay, I can finally kind of start fresh, and I'm almost about to reach maturity and be able to get my fortune, my family fortune, and have a home of my own and be independent and all that. She gets there and discovered there was recently a death, and then starts seeing, well, she can kind of see ghosts. And so she starts seeing the ghost of the woman who was killed, and there's a whole mystery. Her one cousin who's about her age is also sick, so it's oh, is she the next victim? And so this first book is her having to figure out what the mystery is. And she's also has this connection with death, can see death. She can't die. She will poison herself to try to get closer to death and basically yell at him because she's why are you ruining my life? So it's kind of a death in the maiden story, gothic romance, sort of historical gothic mystery. The first two books follow her primarily, and then the final book still has her in it, but it's more of a companion story with a little bit of an offshoot with a different character. And I overall really loved this trilogy. I binged my way through it in the last month or so. I had read Belladonna a couple years ago and really enjoyed it. I gave it I think 4 or 5 stars at the time, and then reread it on audio and then read the next two in the series within the last month and loved them. These are so for me. This is YA, but I would say it's upper YA, kind of in that new adult category that publishing was trying to make happen for a while. So these characters are definitely older. I think all of them, and throughout the range of the series, they range from 19 to 22-ish, and there is some, I wouldn't say smut, there is some spice involved a little bit. It's not the main part of the book, but there's a little bit of spicy scenes with the characters as far as the romance is. So first off, we talk about the world building. This is such a perfect gothic mystery and gothic vibes for this series. It's everything has some kind of gothic floral name. Lots of, okay, so Belladonna is a main theme, but Thorn Grove is the name of one of the places she's at. Foxglove, these kinds of sort of poison names. There's a poison garden. There's again these big manors that are haunted. Ghosts are popping in and out. All of that. So it's not a horror at all, because the ghosts themselves, there's some creepy bits to the ghosts, but I'm a big scaredy cat and this wasn't scary at all. Kind of that less scary than even Crimson Peak kind of vibes, which I love. And then you have just all of the trappings of a historical sort of romance or historical fantasy of high society and the balls and having to talk and have tea and gossip and having certain propriety and all of that kind of thing. And then we have this element of death as a character. And then throughout, we also kind of learn throughout the series that death as an entity is a thing, but also there's other entities and sort of deities. I think they do refer to them as deities, but it's more concepts, chaos, fate, time, these kinds of things. So I just really like that concept in general of any kind of humanized form of a deity or an entity or whatever. Dig that always. So vibes, immaculate. Next, I'm gonna talk about our characters. I love our main character of Signa. I, again, tend to love, in general, any character that has a connection to death, and can kind of go between life and death. So she can't necessarily go into death completely, as a place, right? But she can take poisons and then basically falls into a semi-consciousness and can see death, can see spirits, all those things. And when characters have that ability, I just really like it. And I really dig her banter and stuff with death. The way that she's just she's really not scared of him, and he finds her very mysterious, from even infancy. He is also this sort of ageless being, and there's definitely not any kind of weirdness, but he's always just been around because people keep dying around her, and she's always stop making people die around me, and he's I'm not, he's I don't kill people, I just take them when they need to go, and all of that. So that's a very fun dynamic. I also really like the dynamic with the men in this series. So there is Death that she has this connection to, and then there's this guy that works at Thorngrove. He's one of the servants or whatever, one of the help at Thorngrove, and his name is Silas. He's a stable hand, and she has this back and forth where she's I don't know who I like more. I am drawn to both of them, and they're both great. And it's a very like sweet dynamic, and like both of them end up kind of helping her with this mystery because she's like, my family members are dying. What the hell is going on? So she is like really when she gets her teeth in an idea, she just kind of goes after it, and that is a theme throughout the story. So in all the books, there's this like mystery element to it, and I just love how she like it makes sense that she does that. She's also someone who's been so removed from society for a long time that she's like very independent in those ways and just very smart, and even is described by other people as kind of otherworldly. Like she feels a little bit like off because of this connection to death. So yeah, I really dig that. But I like those different dynamics that she has with the different men as far as like love interests, and even like her family that she meets, like the bonds that they form, and the bonds like particularly between her and Blythe, who is one of the other like main female characters in the story. Like they just have a very close bond that is formed over time, and I really appreciate. Lastly, we talk about the plot. I like the plots of these. So the whole like mystery element in the first one, especially, again, I've read this book twice. I had forgotten because the mystery is so good that I had actually forgotten things about the mystery and was like re-surprised by what had happened. I don't know. I don't read a ton of mysteries. Maybe mystery people would be like, it's obvious. I don't think it was. This was a really good job of like actually having a mystery and having like a bunch of like red herrings and stuff. And I just really dug it. There's also a mystery in the second book. And even that one, I was also like, I didn't expect that. So that was very fun. There is also an element to the plot in the second one of another character kind of coming in. That's another one of those like deities. And so there's an additional, it's not quite a love triangle, but he thinks, and we're not sure, that Cigna may be someone that used to be important to him. And so he also creates like all of this chaos. So that's very fun. And then the third book, like I said, is a spinoff. And that one involves like a reincarnated lovers sort of plot line where they don't know that that's what's happened, which I love a reincarnated lover story. Love it. That one is a little bit weaker, I would say, just because it is this like sort of spin-off thing. But overall, I loved the whole series. I love the mysteries in the whole series. There is some things about, I would say, the final book. So the final book was 4 stars. The first 2 books were 5 stars, for sure. So the finale has some things about, I would say, the overarching plot that don't quite get resolved. So I'm wondering if she's going to return to it because it feels like a glaring oversight that feels almost intentional. So I'm not sure if she's going to return to this series because now the character's a little bit older. Maybe it'll be like slightly more adult. I don't know. But either way, even if she doesn't, I'm okay with it. It wasn't a part that needs to be answered, but it is a thing that it does still feel like an unresolved plot point. But yeah, I loved these. So overall, I think it's like a 5-star series, to be completely honest. I think, the first 2 are so good. The last one is also still really good, like still 4 stars. And I've liked other Adalyn Grace stuff, so I read her first duology and enjoyed that. Like it was just solid. I think the first book I gave 4 stars, the second book I gave 3. So she's definitely improved in her writing, and I'm interested in future things by her. I'll be keeping my eye on her because I think she does really solid, like upper YA. And if she ever gets into adult, that'll be exciting. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Belladonna series by Adalyn Grace. Comment down below, let me know your thoughts on this series. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all guys soon. Bye.